Okay. All right. So I am not even going to try to say the name because I think in my head, I think I'm saying it correctly. I'm saying it as
Sagrado.
Sagrado. Okay.
And it translates to sacred.
Okay. And see, I didn't pass Spanish, so it's, I mean, I didn't want to butcher it. I did.
Oh, you're fine. Fine. I've heard
Okay.
worse.
So you are John. So I'm being joined by John and Natalie. John,
Yeah.
you are the owner of.
Yeah, the owner founder. I started the company.
Okay. And Natalie is your brand ambassador.
My,
I
my, my
am, yes.
and my boss.
And
And the boss. I mean, let's face it.
okay,
I run the show.
okay. So then, you know what? So my first question is going to be to you, Natalie. Why? Why did you want to be this cigar's brand ambassador?
You know what? To be honest with you, I was not in the cigar game at all. I was very green to cigars, knew nothing about it. And I had met John a couple of years ago, and then he's talking about his cigar business and kind of lightly, right? And then it kind of picked up steam, and he was talking about it more and more. And I thought, hey, I'll try to get your cigars here in Canada because I'm Canadian.
Okay.
And and that was about a year and a bit ago. And then I started working with him as a brand ambassador, opening up stores. I'm posting on social media, and yeah, it's been fun. So since then, I've become a certified cigar sommelier tobacconist.
Wow.
The first female in Canada.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. So I did that through the Sisters of the Leaf Global movement. And yeah, so I mean, I'm still learning, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
So how long had you been smoking cigars?
For about 0 days.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, very green, very new to the cigar industry and smoking cigars. So, now of course I'm smoking Sagrado cigars, and so now what I've got to do is I've got to branch out, and smoke other brands and see what I like, the profiles. And so my palate is very green. It's very immature, if for lack of a better word. But I'm getting there. It's a process.
Yes. Okay. So John, for you, I know you thought of this in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic, and you wanted people to be able to, enjoy memories and moments and things like that. But had it always been something in the back of your head that you wanted to have your own brand?
No, it's funny. I was during the pandemic. I was finishing up my MBA, in my basement, and at that point, my day job at that point in technology, so I wasn't able to travel. So I was working on Zoom calls like we're having right now. And that's so that's kind of what was a lot of driving of I was having the itch to have a business again because I owned a business when I was younger. I was getting that itch. And I thought I would never do it again, but I was getting the itch. I knew what I was going to do, and I got friends in Florida, the Cuban, and I speak Spanish, and so I was at a birthday party, and we're basically getting our share of Cuban rum, smoking Cuban cigars, and I was told, hey, I've got a friend who just left Cuba a couple of years ago, moved to Dominican Republic. He's a master cigar roller, has been doing it for like 30 years, and he's just started a shop up. He said, would you like to go meet him? Maybe you can start a business. And I thought, nah. And so anyways, after a few more hours went by, and a little convincing, I thought, okay, well, maybe. So a few days later, I called him up. I said, hey, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. So it's one of those things where I just thought about it. And so we flew out there, and what got to me about the whole process was, and I don't say process here. So I don't want to confuse Natalie with the process. So, but no, I've been huge into like wine all my life, and bourbon and whiskey and the culinary, area. My sister works in the wine industry as well. She's an inventor. gives us really cool ideas, and lives in the Central Coast region. But anyways, I've always been at pairings. I've been a chef groupie for years, where I'd meet executive chefs and so on, and go to their kitchen, see their Michelin stars, and I just love pairings. I just love that whole experience. To me, that's living, And so when I was out in Dominican Republic, when I got to see the whole process, when I got to see the different plants, went out to plantations, and I was talking to the people that own these plantations, and one of them was original back from like 1963. Cubans that had come out and started this plantation. So the seeds are the original seeds, are growing like Criollo 98 and these other varietals, Corojo and so on. And I was blown away. I didn't realize there was such a variety of tobacco that went into the cigars. I smoked cigars almost my whole life, but just ignorant, just enjoy them, like and socializing, which like a lot of cigar smokers, it was great. But I saw that, then I saw the construction process. There's multiple ways of constructing that cigar. And then I got to see the aging process over like with Hochi Blanco, the Palma Cigars. We went over there to his warehouse. My God, I mean, bales and bales and bales of tobacco and stuff from all over the world, and stuff aged from 3 years to 12 years. And I was just blown away. And then when I started doing like in my head, like the mathematical combination, I thought, my God, this is endless. This is like the food industry, like making I can make spaghetti one way, you'd make it another way, now we make another way, and on and on and on. And we'd all have our own twist to it. Even if the same tobacco, you go from one roller to another, factory, it's going to taste different. It's just, it's like they say about cooking, it's like your passion, your soul, your heart. That's what you taste in it, or lack of, right? There's a difference between a McDonald's burger and an office McDonald's and, what you make at home.
Right.
It doesn't taste the same,
Right.
And so it's that passion. And so I got to see all of that. And it wasn't until, I got in the airplane, I'm flying home, because I was just trying to internalize everything, that it came to me. I thought, my God, you know what? This is something I can, because I love creating things. I can create something. I can do something original. I can take this concept and bring people together. This whole Sagrado idea, having a product that is high quality, that you savor, you consume slowly, you share with people you love. That was the birth of this idea. So the cigar business was the first business we launched. It's a part of a series of businesses which creates a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle of bringing people together, about giving access to people of different, diversity, whether it's financial, whether it's cultural, whatever, racial, whatever it may be. The whole idea is, let's bring people together. There's enough division going on in our country and the world. Let's, in a cigar, you go to a cigar lounge and everyone is equal.
Right.
That's and Natalie getting introduced to it. The lounges are different here than in Canada. She can talk about that. But Natalie and I, we travel a lot together. We do a lot, and she's learning a lot. But that was kind of like the journey of how I got into it. It wasn't designed like I was going to get into it. It was this ideation, like where you're just throwing ideas up in the air, and then an opportunity happened. And with this business, I've had many opportunities. I mean, including Natalie say, "Hey, can I help out?" That was, some time ago, and I spent a lot of time training her and her getting her, Sisters of Leaf, education. She's got more she'll be doing.
So how did that happen? Natalie, you're in Canada, and John, you're here in the States. So how did that connection happen?
How did that happen, Natalie?
We actually met a couple of years ago in Mexico. And we just stayed in contact. And so we were, we'd hang out every, few months or so. And then, like I said, he was talking about, we were together, and, he was talking about the cigars. And I said, I can help you. I'm not much of a salesperson, but I feel like I could, butter people up enough to buy a few cigars. So, and you know what? It's, that's exactly what it's been. I go into these lounges, I go into these stores, and I'm selling cigars, and it's worked out.
So being in Canada, are there a lot of women cigar smokers in Canada?
No, no, there are not. There are not enough, actually. And this is something I want to bring to Canadians, to female Canadians, is, I want to do events at, see, the thing with Canada, it's very different from the US. Okay. So we don't have a lot of lounges that you can actually smoke in.
Okay.
So it's the ones that do allow smoking, they're either grandfathered or they're on Indian land.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that's a tough one too, is allowing the smoking indoors. What I have found though, like in the city that I live in, there is a lounge that was grandfathered, and so there is smoking, but every time I go there, it's all men. There are never women in there. It's always men. So, I want to change that, get like, where are the women? Are they really at home barefoot and pregnant? Like, please. Right?
Right.
So
Natalie has a great success story. Natalie single-handedly was instrumental in getting us into what country?
Yes. Okay. So I had said that about a year and a bit ago. I told John, like, I'll do what I can to get Sagrado into Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And so just a few weeks ago, our cigars finally landed in Canada. It took that long to get them here. And like the process is very different. In the US, I can go to a lounge and say, hey, would you like to buy Sagrado cigars?
Mm-hmm.
Or, supply them in your store. We can't do that here. We have to go through a distributor, and then the distributor pushes them out across the country to all their stores. So it's a different process. And like in Canada, our humidors are very different than in the US. One, you can't be in a humidor by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Two, we have this plain packaging requirement. So the bands, like you guys have the colorful bands, right? But in Canada, we have to cover them. So, and we're not allowed to have boxes. Boxes aren't allowed in humidors. So so you walk into a humidor in Canada and everything's brown. There's
So
no color.
it's like you're blind buying.
Yes. You have to know, it's like you have to know what you want, and the retailer has to know their stuff. Like they have, because everything looks the same, like everyone's on the same playing field. And the reasoning behind this, the Canadian government, Justin Trudeau, bless his good-looking heart, is that children, they don't want to expose children to colorful bands, because children always go to cigar stores and buy a $20 cigar.
Right. So okay, so I mean, okay, so I mean, I don't get that rationale, but I like the fact that they're all on the same level playing field, because it's like, if you know what you want, and if you have a great tobacconist in the store, and you say, okay, I want something, peppery or not too strong, and they can guide you to, okay, this is our selection of what we have, and you will basically blind buy it, which helps your brand, correct, John?
It can. It can work against you too. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. And one of the things that we're asked as we were going to stores up in Canada, getting the market ready, was, are you going to leave your bands on, your rings on? Because the biggest disappointment to the Canadians, when they take off that wrapper, there's nothing there. It's just a plain cigar. They want to see those pretty bands that the Americans get to enjoy, And so it's a big thing. But they also, in all fairness, on the counter, they also have like these fluorine binders, which will have the pictures that the store owner can take them through what it looks like, on the other side of the border,
Yeah. But you know what? It is a bit of a disservice though to the brand, because people will walk into the humidor and they know what they want. They only want that. They're not going to veer towards anything else, because there's nothing else that's going to catch their eye, even though they may enjoy something else.
Right.
But, if they've only smoked, a whatever, they're going to go straight to that. So it's, it's a bit of both. It's
right.
Like John said, it's a double-edged sword.
The big thing that's really helped us out is Cuba. because Cuba's prices have skyrocketed, and the Chinese have had a lot of influence on that market on creating this I always say lack of availability of tobacco, Cuban tobacco, and so the pricing has been going up, which is helping us boutiques. We're a boutique, and so our product, in Canada, depending on the province, because each province, like in the United States, we have different taxes, and like California is kind of like Canada. You have to go through distribution in California. So it's funny, .ca, it's ironic, but same type of model in California. But because of the pricing of the tobacco with the Cubans, people are paying, I'm telling you, on a cheap cigar, like a Cohiba Robusto. I mean, you're talking like 75, $80, right? And then it goes to the hundreds up there. So people are tired of paying those prices. And so we come in, and my cigar in Colorado, which we have a ridiculous tax. I'm not sure what Maryland is. In Colorado, it's 50%. It's supposed to be going to 63. We got to get a cap on it. It's out of control. Right? Out of control.
Listen, I complain about the 6% tax that we pay here.
Oh, yeah, ours is 140%.
It's like Alaska. We're in Anchorage. It's 140 in Anchorage.
I'm gonna stop complaining.
Like Florida or Pennsylvania.
I will never complain again.
So Colorado, where our cigars go for, let's say one of our Toros goes for $12. Okay. In Arizona, where we were just at, they have a 30-cent tax. It's only that same cigar is gonna be about $8-9 over there, right? And then Canada's gonna be like Alaska, okay? In Alaska, our cigars go for like anywhere, depending on, like, say in Canada, the province, anywhere from $21 to $24 a stick. That same stick in the States, depending on the state, is going to be over half the price less.
Wow,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
So Natalie, so how did because like, okay, so here in my area, I'm just going to use the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We have cigar ambassadors and sales reps that will come to the shops, smoke with the owners or the manager, and then say, the manager at that point can say, yeah, I'll take a box, or take 2, or 200 or whatever. So you're not able to do that in Canada. So what, you just send it to the distributor and say, hey, I have some cigars?
You know what? Pretty much. That's pretty much how it goes. So that's what we did. I sent them to the distributor in Alberta and said, here are cigars. And, in the hopes that 1, they're going to smoke them. 2, they're going to remember what they're smoking. 3, remember what company while they're smoking it. And then on top of that, John and I went to Alberta because there's a cluster in Calgary, Alberta. So we went and visited stores and dropped off samples. That's all you can do, is just drop off samples. Wow. And then again, hope for all those things to come together.
Wow. So
it's just crazy.
So John, so where are you based out of, John?
I'm in Colorado.
So you're in Colorado. So I saw that in Colorado, because I did look at the map to see where I could buy it. And I see that I can go to Richmond, which is about a 2.5-hour drive for me to find your cigars. That's the only place here locally to me that I could find. So I see you were in a lot of places in Colorado, because it was like a stretch. So what is that process like in the other states that you have them in? Are you and Natalie going to different cigar lounges, or it's a 2-part question. So for you, John, are you focusing on the Midwest and the West? And Natalie, are you traveling down here to the States often to get them in the States, closer on the Eastern coast, or Mid-East? Well, we don't say Mid-East, but the middle of the country.
Yeah, you don't say Middle East.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation.
Now, do you want to take that? Do you want me to take that?
I can take it. So yes, to answer your question, that's actually exactly what we're doing. We're pounding the pavement. So it is a matter of going to different states. So right now, I'm focusing on Arizona, and I am traveling to Arizona, every couple months and going to different states between, but really focusing on Arizona and opening up stores there. So, because they've got quite a large cigar population there. So, yeah, just hitting up stores there and literally walking in, making appointments, walking in with cigars, sitting down with the owners or decision makers, and saying, "Hey, will you buy our cigars?" So yeah, it is a lot of travel. It is. A few weeks ago, John and I were in Alaska doing a couple events. So on top of that, we're doing events. I'm doing events with Lilith, and
I was going to ask you
yeah.
about her.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we were in Alaska doing that. We've got San Diego coming up, Denver. We'll do some work there. I
You have
can't
another
even.
target back east, right?
What?
About the other target market that we'll be focusing on back east coast.
Well, okay, so yeah, in San Diego, like that's the other thing we're looking to open up in California. We've already got a store in Sacramento Towers. And so yeah, we want to hit up California, but as John said earlier, California is a lot like Canada because you have to go through a distributor. So we're going to work on that. Another target is Texas and Georgia. I've never been to Atlanta. I'm dying to go to Atlanta and check out these lounges because they look like so much fun.
Yeah, I have a daughter that lives in Georgia, and it's funny because she lives on the outskirts of Atlanta, and every time I go, I always tell her, well, one of those days I'm not going to be with you at all because I got to go to Atlanta to the cigar lounges. So she already knows.
Yeah, so
yeah,
as Natalie said, so we're trying to be very strategic, on how we do, because there's two of us there doing sales, and Arizona is one of the top markets in the nation. They have over 100 lounges in that state, and Atlanta is up there now at the top as well. I think I don't know if they're number one, number two. I mean, Atlanta is a huge market. They're almost like we joked about Starbucks back in the day. There's a Starbucks within a Starbucks within a Starbucks, and that's how the cigar stores are in Atlanta. So when we look at things, we look at clusters. We look at where's cluster business. Like for example, nothing against the Midwest, but when you're looking at population, you're looking at how many stores are serving a region. It takes a lot more expense to be able to open those up than it does of us to jump into a populated area with a lot of cluster. So that's where Natalie, and I think Natalie's, great. She do fantastic in Atlanta in that market. She's been doing great in the Arizona market. We just this week we still opened up 2 stores in Wyoming. Which again, there's only 4 really stores up there for us in that state. There's 500,000 people.
Right. So okay, so I see that you have 10 cigars. And Lilith caught my eye because you have a photo, Natalie, on your Instagram of your nails and your 2 middle fingernails. See, only a woman would know that, right?
I love it.
You have Lilith on your nails, and I'm like, okay, so is Lilith your favorite? I mean, I feel like she could be your favorite.
She really is. My nails are a hot mess right now. I got them done for Alaska, and they're a hot mess. So please don't. My lady isn't available till weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, so I've got Lilith here, and then I've got Sagrado here. Yeah, Lilith is my favorite. I like the concept behind it. The cigar is wonderful. It's the whole thing.
What's the favorite flavor profile of Lilith?
Lilith has I actually have a box here. Lilith is it's very floral. So it's got the Sumatra wrapper and the Allure Dominicano binder and the Seiko in the filler, and it's got a lot of floral. Like someone actually said the other day that the aroma from the smoke, it smells like a cigar bakery.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so it's got it's got baking spices. I have smoked it, and no word of a lie, it tasted apple pie.
Mhm.
So like it's quite a creamy, really good smoke. And what I
Now,
love about it
go
is
ahead.
it's a petite Corona.
Mhm.
So it's not like, it's not a big smoke. It's not a couple hour long smoke. I like that.
So, okay, so John, in what order did Lilith come, or was she your first?
That was my last one I made. My first blend on my own was Anatoly, and Anatoly is very similar blend, except it's a larger ring gauge. It's a Toro 52 ring gauge, and it has a different binder. So I went with Corojo. So when I made the first one, my favorite tobaccos are Sumatra, Corojo, and then the Seco Cubano that I've got there because it's very light. It's really easy on the retro, doesn't kill you. And then I had and not just one Lajero leaf, and it's Pennsylvania broadleaf Lajero, but I put in two. So it's got two Pennsylvania broadleaf Lajero leaves in there. And you say, oh my God, it's gonna be super peppery. It's not. It's not. Just the way we constructed. I got a great Cuban team in Dominican Republic. I got 3 rollers in there that are Cuban that work for Ariel. We have 35 rollers overall. It's growing, the factory, but these 3 are the only ones that work on our cigars.
So,
Because again,
okay, so for me, I'm gonna have to go to Richmond. Does Richmond have all of your, when you open up a shop, are you putting all 10 of your cigars in there, or are you just picking your best
it depends on
sellers?
the store. It really depends on the store. We're not, quite to the scale of a Padron or a Fuente, or Perdomo, where you basically go and you say, well, you're gonna have to buy X amount of facings, and if you want to get that facing, we're not there. We're boutique. We're growing. Like we're at the Embassy, a cigar lounge, over by Quantico, right in that area.
Okay.
And so they picked up our little Feitos. They love the Feitos, and that's what they picked up in that store.
Okay.
I'm in talks with OC Cigars as well, and OC. It's just a matter of timing with them. They love our cigars, and and they're very strong as far as supporting boutiques like us. And I believe that we'll have multiple facings in there. So no, we're expanding, and we will expand more in Virginia. That's stuff we talked about. We're going to expand a little bit to North Carolina. I got a sister lives in Robbins, so take advantage of that opportunity.
Okay.
And but Georgia in Atlanta, Natalie's just going to be pounding that area as well as Arizona. Those are 2 areas that I on top of Canada that I want to stay focused, and then I'm kind of all the other peripheral stuff I'm doing, but Natalie is really leading the charge on the sales.
Okay. And I mean, I just love Lilith. I feel like I done fell in love with her just from hearing Natalie talk about it. So I'm gonna be upset if there's no Natalie's when I get to Richmond. So
Well, see, this is it, right? And so we also count on our customers, right? To go to lounges, go to stores and say, hey, are you carrying Lilith? And if they say, supply and demand. So if they've got enough demand, they're going to call us and say, hey, we need to carry this because we got people asking.
right.
So, so that's something too. If you go to your store and they don't have it, then you tell them they need it.
Well,
And we
So that's
I
it's
will
like
be promoting this because I love the boutique brands. Like I started off, I'm only 2 years in. So I started off smoking, the bigger brand names, and then I found the boutique brands and I reached for them first. So I'm grateful that you answered the message on Instagram. And didn't get spooked by my last name, because people be like, what, who is this? I don't know. But but actually my last name is actually 3 last names, but I just took the B and just but it's B Swang and Webster. That is my last name. Like, and when people hear it, be like, that is not real. I'm like, yeah, just look us up. We're on Facebook. And
really,
yeah, yeah.
that's awesome. I love it. That is
So
great.
we running out of time, but I really want to have you all back because I want to get into more of the other 9 of your cigars, because Lilith kind of took over.
Here she is.
And there she is. She's looking mighty good too. So
and the box looks mighty good.
Oh my gosh! Listen, I'm gonna have to get a box of them because my girlfriend loves purple. So I doubt if she will ever smoke them because she's such a purple fan that she won't even open the box because she's just like, I just need the box.
Well, if
so
you look
take
at
the cigars and she
is,
takes the box.
Exactly.
Yeah, purple and gold, and also it's the same colors as the Q fraternity.
Right. So even better. And fraternities, they are all about this cigar smoking.
That's right. But no, absolutely. Let's get back. Maybe what we can do too, if you give us an address, we can send you the cigars, and maybe you can experience it before the next call, and we can talk about it.
I will get Davon on that when he comes in the office tomorrow, because because then what I'll do, because today I probably won't be able to have a cigar today because I have a sore throat. So it's like, okay, I won't be able to smoke today, but tomorrow, boy, you better watch out.
Yes, please do that. Make sure you send us your address and we'll get that to you right away.
I certainly will, but I want to thank you both. Oh, this has been so much fun. I want to thank you both for sitting down with me today, and we are going to schedule another interview so that then you can tell me which new shops you're in, and what else is coming up, when Natalie comes down here to the States and John makes his way over to the eastern seacoast. And I mean, you never know. I might just have to pay a visit to Canada. I've never been, so I may have to come up there. And Colorado actually is on my bucket list. Like, that is a place I want to go. So
outstanding.
So thank you for sitting down with me. Where can my viewers find you on Instagram?
Oh, Natalie?
You can find us at Sagrado Cigars on Instagram. Our website is www.sagradocigars.com. You can find me on Instagram at cigar.nerd.
And someone's looking for cigars, and we don't have yet a store close to that person's proximity. We also have a few retail online stores that sell our product that can ship them anywhere in the country. So that's another option. And just, I would have them reach out to Natalie directly. And you're at what, Natalie? What's your email or your contact?
My contact is Natalie at sagradoglobal.com.
All right. So everyone heard it here first. And we will have Natalie and John back probably within a few weeks, probably no more than 4 weeks from now. We're going to have them back so we can find out more about Sagrado Cigars. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your holiday off.
Thank you, you too.